Hello.
Welcome. We're
Good
glad you're here.
evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm just guessing because it's evening for me, so it's got to be evening for everybody else too.
Yes, unless you're in Australia, and then we don't care. You guys are all upside down backwards anyway, so whatever. No,
But
we're glad to
they
have
can
you.
catch our show live, you know?
What's it?
That's
Oh,
really-
true. Yeah, we have had some Australians on the show.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess apparently we're compatible with that time frame.
Yeah.
We are not compatible with all of Europe. Europeans are sleeping right now.
Yeah, they are. And rightly so.
Yeah, it's like 2 in the
If
morning.
they're not, there's a problem.
3 in the morning. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, whether you're watching us live, hello, one person, or you're watching us after the fact, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
And let's see. Let me I got to throw the donation link in there.
Okay.
Where is it? I have it somewhere. I found it. I've had it before.
You
Where do I have it? Where'd I put it? I don't know. I don't know where I put it. No.
Well, this is the problem with, the technology that's supposed to make your life easier.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure it does.
I know. I hear you. I can get the link here. I'm going to work. I'll work on that real quick.
Yeah, you do it. The whole idea of paralysis from too many choices. I think that's a real problem in our modern world. And
I agree.
I'll just mention photos. Everybody has a camera at the ready, and they're taking thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of photos.
Right.
And then they go into a storage thing somewhere, whether it's an external hard drive or a laptop or, I found my husband was digging through his desk one day and he found a bunch of memory sticks. He goes, I don't even know what's on these.
Yeah.
And it was full of photos. And, we've got photos, real photos, lots and lots. We even have slides.
Wow. Nice.
And, but you just didn't willy-nilly take photos.
Right. You had to be a little more deliberate.
Yeah. You were more, I mean, there was, there were candid photos for sure. Lots of those, but it's not like we posed for every photo, which is another interesting thing to think about because a lot of people pose now, even with their clicky camera on their phone,
Yeah. Kids seem to be trained nowadays. When you go into the take a picture pose, all the kids just like freeze and
I know it's so
put on
weird.
their big smile. Yeah, it is very weird.
Even little kids, like toddlers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we used to have to get them to come and sit still and sit on our laps and, look at the camera, say cheese, but now as soon as someone pulls a phone out, they do the thing. I saw,
okay, there we go. I'm back.
I saw a video once of, like a very young toddler, like in a car seat. Like almost like a baby, really. And the mother focused on her with her camera, and she did the fish lips and the whole 9 yards.
Yes, ready. The baby was ready.
Trained. She knew she could mimic it because she'd seen it so many times.
Yeah,
she mimicked it perfectly.
Oh, man,
like a little mini me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
I think kids are much better at learning our bad habits than our good habits.
Well, they tend to, I would say this, Jeremy, they tend to mimic the thing they see the most often.
Hey, there you go. There's that.
There's
that. Yes.
Or the thing that raises the, what would you call that? The emotional levels.
Yes, right.
So I
Yep.
used to have a macaw. You know those beautiful birds, parrots?
Yes, yes.
And the one thing you had to be really, really careful of was exclaiming anything. And these birds have the capability of a anywhere between 3 and 5-year-old.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like,
Wow.
they're amazing. I could tell you a million stories about things this bird said and did.
Hmm.
Things I didn't sometimes he'd just come up with something that I didn't even know he knew it.
Yeah.
Like, he called someone by their name once because they were splashing in a pool,
Yeah.
and that activity really he
He didn't like
was
that.
afraid he was afraid actually for my daughter who was with this person in the pool
Oh.
because he really loved my daughter.
Yeah.
And I had him on my hand, and they started kicking with their feet, holding onto the sides and kicking.
Yeah.
And he just yelled this person's name right out, like in an angry tone, like, Jeremy. That's what he did.
Wow. Wow.
Just like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't even know you knew his name.
Wow.
So anyway, but the one thing you have to be really careful about is like sudden exclamatory things because they'll just repeat them ad nauseum. So if you swear,
right.
and you don't want
Now you have a swearing bird. Yeah.
you don't want your bird to swear. It's just not
Right.
it's not great,
No. Right.
And yeah, there's lots of swearing birds on the internet that just because I had one, I just love watching love watching parrots, doing their thing. They're pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, that's there's a lot more going on there than we normally think about.
So much more. I'll tell you a couple little things.
Okay.
That were for me at the time were amazing. Like, so I just got the bird. I got him from a couple who were planning to sail around the world and they couldn't take him along. So, and they'd had him since he was a baby.
Yeah.
And he was 3, I think, when I got him. And I brought him home and he was very quiet all the drive home, in his cage, looking at me with one eye, as birds do. And then we got in and I put him on my hand and I said, "This is your new home, Coco." And we walked in the door. I said, "This is the boot room." I just assume that these things are smarter than me. Okay. That's always my go-to. And he goes, "Wow."
What a good guest. That's nice.
And then we walked into the kitchen and I said, "And this is the kitchen." And he goes, "Wow." So every room we went into, he said, "Wow," but he said it in a different tone.
Really?
So it'd be like, "Wow." And then, "Wow." And, "Wow." Really slowly,
Oh, that's fun.
And then another time I sent my mother to my house to pick something up for me. And there was nobody home. And Coco had his own room and his own really big cage. When I was away, he was in there. And my mother walked in the house and he heard the door open. And so he just assumed someone's coming to get me, right? Because he was always with us.
Yeah.
And so she's moving around in the house and he goes, "Hello," like that. And she doesn't answer him. So he goes, "Hello?" And then she doesn't answer him and he goes, "Hello."
Oh, that's great.
Oh. And
that's
then one more little story. One time he was outside on his stand in the carport and my mother drove up right to the carport. He was here. And she gets out of her car and she's wearing this bright yellow jacket. And he has a bright yellow chest. Right? Because he's a blue and gold macaw. So he's got this golden yellow chest.
Yeah.
She steps out of the car and he goes on the very edge of his stand and he stretches himself right out and he goes, "Wow."
Oh man, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I got so many. He was very much responsible for a lot of healing in my life.
Nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just by walking around and saying, wow.
Well,
that would help.
That was a word he knew. I taught him. So when I had him, he couldn't fly because they lived on a sailboat and they didn't have any space, and they kept him in a small cage. They were great people, but it was just he had a stand, but often he was in his cage.
Yeah.
And they had him as a baby, so he didn't have space to learn to fly. And the crazy thing about that is that birds have to learn how to fly. So if they don't learn how to fly, they're afraid of falling, which you would never imagine because they have wings. We just think, oh yeah, we just have to do this, and then So if I had a swing in my living room hanging down, and then there was like a futon under it, and I could lay on that, and he couldn't reach me from the swing. He could hang down, but he couldn't get off. And then I would swing him, and he'd have to balance, and it scared him at first, right?
Yeah.
And so his go-to movement was to hang upside down and try to grab me with his beak so he could get off, right? But he couldn't. But I had it just far enough away from me that he couldn't do that. And so every time he'd flip upside down, I'd say to him, "Are you a monkey? You a monkey?" And then I'd make a monkey sound. I'd say, "What does monkey say?" And then I make this ooh, 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 ooh,
Yeah.
And so after a while, I could say, once he got used to this, I'd say, even on my hand, I'd say, "Are you a monkey, Coco?" And he'd flip upside down and go, ooh, 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 ooh,
Oh man!
And one time, I had him on a dead log that was really big, and it was a snag in another tree. And he just was up there. I was barbecuing, and he was up there by himself doing his thing. And all of a sudden, I could hear, ooh, 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 and I look up, and he's hanging upside down, way up there.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
Doing the monkey thing. Anyways, he was just amazing. He was amazing.
Yeah. Okay, well, today, so let's start with prayer, and then we'll get to the agenda. I know you all came for St. Kevin, but we have one thing to get to before we get to.
Oh, you got things up your sleeve.
I do. I'm tricksy today. Where am I? Okay, there we go. Illumine our hearts, O Master, who lovest mankind with the pure light of thy divine knowledge. Open the eyes of our mind to the understanding of thy gospel teachings. Implant also in us the fear of thy blessed commandments, that trampling down all carnal desires, we may enter upon a spiritual manner of living, both thinking and doing such things as are well-pleasing unto thee. For thou art the illumination of our souls and bodies, O Christ our God, and unto thee we ascribe glory together with thy Father, who is from everlasting, and then all holy, good, and life-creating Spirit, now and ever, and unto ages of ages. Amen. Okay, so first what I was thinking is that this Sunday, well, let me share this first. Let me share the screen.
So it's the week of Pentecost, right?
Yes, Sunday was Pentecost. It was a beautiful service. There's green everywhere. There's greenery. People bring, branches and plants and flowers and everything, and the whole church is decorated in green. And then the priests are wearing the green.
Wait, why?
What?
Why?
Life. The Spirit has been. That's like paradise as well. It's
okay, because the
beginning
Holy
of the restoration of paradise.
Because the Holy Spirit was imparted.
Yes, because that's when the church was born, was on Pentecost.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, because that's when the Holy Spirit showed up.
So when the Holy Spirit is present for all the believers, we're in paradise.
Yes. Yes.
Just trying to connect the liturgical dots here.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and so after the Divine Liturgy, there's another. We did it back to back. Normally, it's in the evening. That evening, Sunday evening, is it's called the Kneeling Vespers, and so there are a set of 3 prayers We had 3 different priests that week, so each priest got to read one of the prayers. It was really beautiful. But there's hymns and stuff before that, but then you kneel, and these prayers are only said once a year, and one of the sets of prayers is all about those who are in repose as well, like our loved ones who are in repose, and all of the all of the church who are in repose. So it's a very beautiful service, and it's one of those where even the because like the old world Orthodox people come out for Pentecost. Like, it's Pentecost, Pascha, and Christmas are those are the holidays that no one misses. And so the church was packed with a lot of people I'd never seen before, that I don't see very often. So, I mean, glory to God. It was really,
yeah.
It was a really beautiful service. It's really worth looking up the prayers for the kneeling vespers of Pentecost. There's just a beautiful set of prayers.
So Paul Vanderklay was in Austin, Texas at a weekend that Rigel organized.
Yeah.
And he went to the Divine Liturgy. And from what I can gather, I think some people actually went to Vespers too.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they usually, just as a economia, they put it right after church so that you don't have to go home and then come back that evening, because a lot of people can't do that.
Okay.
They usually just tack it on, because normally Vespers are in the evening. Those are evening prayers.
Well, what's on Saturday?
What's that?
What's on Saturday's evening?
Well, that's Vespers as well. Saturday evening is Vespers.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I see.
Yeah.
But that's a very beautiful service as well.
Yeah, and all I wanted to say about that was, it looks like Paul Vanderklay got to see one of the more beautiful services in the Orthodox Church.
Glory to God.
Yeah.
Glory to
so
God.
That's cool.
That's
I didn't.
Yeah.
Good. Sorry, my personal calendar has even gone under. So the liturgical calendar has definitely gone under.
I totally understand. Yeah.
I've just been running with the oh my God, the dandelions are 3 feet tall.
Right. And were you ever able to get your sink unclogged? The drain?
No.
Oh dear. Okay.
Wow. Not yet.
All right.
I'm still trying to work on it.
So this Sunday is the Synaxis of All Saints, and I thought this was worth mentioning. We have 2 days during the year that we do this. I think actually just this one. I'm sorry. So anyway, it's the Sunday after Pentecost, the Synaxis of All Saints. So I thought I would read this. It's a short passage about it, but it's good. Yeah. The Sunday following Pentecost is dedicated to all saints, those who are known to us and those who are known only to God. There have been saints at all times, and they have come from every corner of the earth. They were apostles, martyrs, prophets, hierarchs, monastics, and righteous, yet all were perfected by the same Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. The descent of the Holy Spirit makes it possible for us to rise above our fallen state and to attain sainthood, thereby fulfilling God's directive to be holy, for I am holy. Therefore, it is fitting to commemorate all saints on the first Sunday after Pentecost. This feast may have originated at an early date, perhaps as a celebration of all martyrs. Then it was broadened to include all men and women who had borne witness to Christ by their virtuous lives, even if they did not shed their blood for him. St. Peter of Damascus, in his 4th stage of contemplation, mentions 5 categories of saints: apostles, martyrs, prophets, hierarchs, and monastic saints. He is actually quoting from the Octoekos, Tone 2, for Saturday Matins, Kathisma, after the first stichology. So the Octoekos is those are the hymns, the standard hymns that are part of the service. Octo is 8, echoes tones, 8 tones. St. Nicodemus of the Holy Mountain adds the righteous to St. Peter's 5 categories. The list of St. Nicodemus is found in his book, The 14 Epistles of St. Paul, in his discussion of 1 Corinthians 12, verse 28. The hymnology for the Feast of All Saints also lists 6 categories: Rejoice, assembly of the apostles, prophets of the Lord, loyal choirs of the martyrs, divine hierarchs, monastic fathers, and the righteous. Some of the saints are described as confessors, a category which does not appear in the above lists. Since they are similar in spirit to the martyrs, they are regarded as belonging to the category of martyrs. They were not put to death as the martyrs were, but they boldly confessed Christ and came close to being executed for their faith. Saint Maximus the Confessor is such a saint. His tongue was cut out and his hand was cut off, but he didn't die from those injuries. Just as a background there.
Mm-hmm.
The order of these 6 types of saints seems to be based on their importance to the church. The apostles are listed first because they were the first to spread the gospel throughout the world. And then there are, I will add real quick, there are also other people who are like called equal to the apostles or apostle. So like Saint Mary Magdalene is called the apostle to the apostles because she actually saw Christ first and actually went to the apostles and told them. Right. Then there are other people who are like the first person who bring the gospel to a new land are called like apostles, the apostle to Georgia or whatever. Right.
Yeah. And equal to the apostles, they're called.
Yeah. Equal to the apostles. Yep. So the martyrs come next because of their example of courage in professing their faith before the enemies and persecutors of the church, which encouraged other Christians to remain faithful to Christ even unto death. Although they come first chronologically, the prophets are listed after the apostles and martyrs. This is because the Old Testament prophets saw only the shadows of things to come, whereas the apostles and martyrs experienced them firsthand. The New Testament also takes precedence over the Old Testament. Mm-hmm. The holy hierarchs comprise the 4th category. They are the leaders of their flocks, teaching them by their word and their example. The monastic saints are those who withdrew from this world to live in monasteries or in seclusion. They did not do this out of hatred for the world, but in order to devote themselves to unceasing prayer and to do battle against the power of the demons. Although some people erroneously believe that monks and nuns are useless and unproductive, St. John Climacus had a high regard for them. Angels are a light for monks, and the monastic life is a light for all men. Also, I'll add to that something Father Peter here said. So in a lot of prayers at the end, it says, at the end of Orthodox prayers, it will say, through the prayers of our holy fathers, Lord Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us. And he made the point that that phrase, through the prayers of our holy fathers, is actually asking, it's through the prayers of the monks who are praying right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's the current monks, the current monastics who are praying right now. So by their prayers, may we be saved. The last category, the righteous, are those who attained holiness of life while living in the world. Examples include Abraham and his wife Sarah, Job, Saints Joachim and Anna, Saint Joseph the Betrothed, Saint Juliana of Lazarevo, and others. The Feast of All Saints achieved great prominence in the 9th century in the reign of the Byzantine Emperor Leo VI the Wise. His wife, the Holy Empress Theophano, lived in the world but was not attached to worldly things. She was a great benefactor to the poor and was generous to the monasteries. She was a true mother to her subjects, caring for widows and orphans and consoling the sorrowful. Even before the death of Saint Theophano in 893 or 894, her husband started to build a church, intending to dedicate it to Theophano, but she forbade him to do so. It was this emperor who decreed that the Sunday after Pentecost be dedicated to all saints. Believing that his wife was one of the righteous, he knew that she would also be honored whenever the Feast of All Saints was celebrated.
Mm. Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This feels like my catechism class.
Yeah. Well, we try to keep you connected a little bit to the
no, it's awesome.
of the
awesome.
church.
It's perfect.
So, yeah. But now we're going to talk about one of my favorite saints. And I think the story is in here, but if it's not, we'll look around until we find it. Oh, yep, it's here. Okay, good. So this is, I will share it. Drum roll, please. St. Kevin.
Glendalough.
Of Glendalough. Saint Kevin was born in Leinster in the early decades of the 6th century, the age of Saints Columba, Columbanus of Lexeuil, Comgall of Bangor, Finian of Clonard, Kieran of Clonimigos, and many other great saints. Well, that if you're looking for a patron saint, there's quite a list right there. These are all like British Isles saints. This holy ascetic belonged to a noble family, which had included several kings of Leinster. He himself, however, was a model of humility and self-denial. There are several miraculous stories connected with his birth and childhood, but most are unreliable. The holy youth was baptized by a priest named Cronin and was named Kevin, which means fair begotten. There are so many saints named Cronin that it is not clear which one baptized Saint Kevin. When he was 7 years old, his parents sent him to be taught by Saint Petrarch. I'm going to move this to a different screen so I can see it better. Forgive me. When he was 7 years old, his parents sent him to be taught by Saint Petrarch, who happened to be visiting Ireland at the time. Okay, so he's Irish. Forgive me. As a boy of 12, Saint Kevin was placed in the charge of 3 holy elders. Egoin of Ardstra, Locan, and Enna. Little is known of these teachers or where their establishment was located. His secular studies were certainly enhanced by spiritual instruction. He learned to read the Holy Scriptures and to profit from the example of the virtuous men and women of the Old and New Testaments. St. Kevin was so handsome that a young girl named Kathleen became inflamed with desire for him, but the holy youth resisted all her allurements. She pestered him so much with her attentions that he fled from her, just as Joseph fled from Potiphar's wife. Kathleen followed him and found him alone in a field, so she approached him and threw her arms around him. Arming himself with the sign of the cross and filled with the Holy Spirit, St. Kevin broke away from her and ran into the woods. She soon discovered him hiding in a bed of nettles. Grabbing a bunch of nettles, the saint struck her about the face, hands, and feet. Wounded by the nettles, the girl's passion quickly cooled. She fell on her knees in repentance, begged forgiveness from God and from St. Kevin, and promised to become a nun. After successfully resisting the temptations of the flesh, St. Kevin continued to devote himself to his studies and longed to live the monastic life as a hermit. This was a common practice in the Celtic Church, which was influenced by the lives of the Egyptian desert dwellers and by monks who had come from Gaul. St. Kevin was anxious to leave the monastery, but his 3 elders would not let him go. However, he had acquired a reputation for holiness, and people from the surrounding area came to seek his advice. Desiring to flee from such unwelcome attention, he left the monastery in secret and went into the wilderness. It is said that an angel led him to Glendalough, the Vale of the 2 Lakes, where he lived in the hollow of a tree somewhere by the shores of the upper lake. The ascetic remained in this place for several days, living on wild herbs and water. A cow wandered off and came to the tree where the saint was living and began to lick his clothing. After some time had passed, the cow showed an unusual increase in its milk, so her owner told his herdsman to follow the animal. She led him to Glendalough, and there the herdsman discovered St. Kevin, weak with hunger and hiding in the tree. The herdsman had to remove St. Kevin on a litter by force, since the holy ascetic did not wish to leave. As he was being carried off, the trees bent down to make way for them. St. Kevin then bestowed his blessing on the forest. News of St. Kevin reached his 3 elders, who came to bring him back to their monastery. Recognizing the holiness of his life, they understood that they had nothing more to teach him, so they blessed him to leave the monastery. A certain bishop, Lugadus, ordained St. Kevin to the priesthood and sent him and a few other monks to found a new church. He spent a little time converting people at Clonduach, but later moved back to Glendalough. Guided by an angel, St. Kevin crossed the Wicklow Mountains and established a monastery in the lower part of the valley where 2 rivers flow together. Symbolism. Once the monastery was organized, Once the monastery was organized, he appointed one of the monks as abbot, and then he retired to the upper valley a mile away to resume his life of solitude. He built a small dwelling on a narrow place between the mountain and the lake, where there were dense woods with clear rivulets. Some sources say that St. Kevin lived there for 4 years, while others say 7 years. During this period of his life, wild animals would come to drink water out of his hands. Once, during Lent, St. Kevin stood praying in his hut with his hands sticking out of the window. Just then a blackbird nested in his hand and laid an egg. So gentle and compassionate was the saint that he remained in this position until the eggs hatched and the fledglings were able to fly away. There is a small cave above the upper lake known as St. Kevin's Bed. One year he retired there for Lent, and an angel came and told him he would have to move because a rock was about to fall on that spot. St. Kevin told the angel he could not interrupt his Lenten struggles or leave that place. On the eve of Pascha, the angel returned to take him away. The Venerable One protested that he would like to remain there for the rest of his life. He was persuaded to go, however, by the angel's promise that great benefits would follow for all who would come there in the future, both to live in the monastic city and to be buried there. Just as he was leaving with his angel, the rock came tumbling down and landed on the very spot where he had been standing. Crossing over the lake, they discussed the problem of finding sufficient space for so many people. The angel said that if St. Kevin wished, God could transform the 4 mountains surrounding the valley to level fields, fruitful and easy to work. The holy ascetic replied that he would not want God's creatures to perish on his account. All of the animals of those mountains were tame and humble toward him, and they would be saddened by this proposal. When they arrived at the chosen spot, St. Kevin saw that the ground was rocky and unsuitable for burial. The angel fixed that by clearing all the stones away. The site is to the east of the smaller lower lake. St. Kevin told the local chieftain Dima and his sons to cut away the thorns and thistles and to make this a beautiful spot. It is not certain just where in the valley St. Kevin fell asleep in the Lord. It was not at the hermitage, however, because he sent a party of monks there to pray for him. Local tradition says that St. Kevin is buried in the Church of the Mother of God in that vicinity. St. Kevin was succeeded as abbot by his nephew Moliba, who seems to have been the first bishop there. According to the Annals of Ulster, the holy abbot and confessor Kevin departed to Christ on June 3rd, 618. May we have the prayers of St. Kevin. You're muted, by the way. I had heard a couple of different versions. I've heard a couple of different versions. The one I heard was that St. Kevin was outstanding in prayer, and he had his arms outstretched like he were as if he were on the cross, and the bird landed in his hand and laid an egg, and then there was and then the fledglings were born, and then when they flew away, he came out of prayer. So that's another version of it that I've
think
heard.
the one that Paul Kingsnorth shared on his Substack a long time ago was he had his hand out a window or something.
Yeah, that's what this one was.
Yeah.
He was sitting and had his hand out the window.
Yeah, because I think I'm trying to remember, and it was a couple of years ago now when Paul did that series on his Substack, and Wild Saints, that's what it was. It was his Wild Saints series.
Yeah.
And he did St. Kevin. So, yeah, I heard of him there first.
There was another story that I found of him in another account of Lives of the Saints. Let me see if I can find it. It was a cute little story.
Do you have an icon?
Oh, yeah, I can pull that up.
You'd think that a bird was nesting in my hand. It's so dirty. From I was embarrassed today when I had to pay for things,
Yeah, it's embarrassing paying for things.
No, in town, because you reach your hand out and it's literally like so stained from. Oh, there he is.
He's holding a little bird nest.
Yeah.
I like he's pointing at it too.
Yeah.
So I'll read this little story while we look at the icon. Into his charge was committed the care of Fulian, the infant son of Coleman, a Leinster noble or petty prince, to protect it from the fury of the divorced wife of Coleman, who contrived the death of all his children. Comgan fed the child on the milk of a doe, which came from the forest to the door of his cell. A raven was wont, after the doe had been milked, to perch on the bowl and sometimes upset it. Bad luck to thee, exclaimed the saint. When I am dead, there will be a famous wake, but no scraps for thee and thy clan. Whilst all the mourners are making merry below, thou wilt be croaking around the mountain. Top supperless, for not a bite shalt thou have. Then very old, the saint moved further up the valley among the woods to be more alone and lived in complete solitude. Anyway, he was giving the crow a hard time. Save for the birds which fluttered singing around him and perched on his shoulders. When far advanced in years, he meditated a long pilgrimage, but was dissuaded by Carbon, a hermit, who said dryly, birds do not hatch eggs whilst on the wing. Comgan took the hint and remained at Glendalough, perfecting his institutions and extending them into different places. When he felt his end approach, he received the holy viaticum, viaticum from Saint, I can't say that name, Machnorog, a Briton who had a cell to the east of Glendalough and died June 3rd.
Jeremy,
yeah, I like that the deer would come so that he could feed the infant baby. The deer would come and he would milk it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we gonna say?
Could you post a link? I have a different mouse at the moment, and
sure.
I can't figure out how to make it right click. It's just like, what's going on?
Okay.
It's not doing it.
Well, if anyone wants to join us, you can join us here.
Yeah, jump in. Jump in. Did I ever tell you I had a baby moose once?
I'm sure that was painful.
Oh, man. Just because I'm a woman.
Was it painful? Or
well, it was a little bit sad. Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, when we lived in Telegraph Creek.
That's all I got. That's all I got, buddy. When you're a dad, all your jokes are dad jokes. That's how it goes. He's
getting up there, Zeke. It's downhill from here.
Oh, man.
No, a friend of mine in Telegraph Creek, they found they knew it was on this sandbar on the river, and they left it there for the longest time, hoping the mother would come back, and she didn't.
Mm.
And it was newborn. So they took it, and then they called me on the radio, on the CB, because we didn't have telephones there. And I said, just bring it to me, because you can't feed it cow's milk or store-bought milk or canned milk or anything like that. You have to, and I had goats, and I said, I've got goat's milk and that'll be fine for it. But they decided that they were going to do it themselves. So by the time I got him, because they frantically called me like 2 weeks later, can you come and get him? He was at death's door, because they end up with scours from the cow's milk. You know what scours is?
No.
It's like dysentery. It's just a wicked diarrhea.
Oh, that's terrible.
Because they can't digest properly that milk, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I told them not to give it to them. Give it to him. So anyway, I had him for a few days. I had him about a week and a half, I think. And I had made arrangements to send him down to some other people in the valley were going down to Smithers for something else. And they were going to take him. There was a wildlife refuge there. And he died the night, like they were leaving early in the morning. And when I went to get him, he was gone. He died that night. It was very special to have a newborn moose calf in my goat barn.
I imagine. Yeah. That's one time I was out hike. Oh, go ahead.
He was so weak that I had to carry him over my shoulders like a lamb.
Yeah.
He couldn't walk too far. I could put him down and he could stand, but he couldn't. Yeah. And moose tame really, really easily, eh? Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
The Finns in Northern Ontario used to use them for plowing.
What?
Yeah. You just look it up.
I mean, that makes sense. They're huge, very strong, but
there's great photos.
Okay.
Yeah. Moose used for plowing by the Finlanders in Northern Ontario. Maybe even in Minnesota and other places where there were Finn people.
Oops. I'm trying to find something. I think this is one of those Canadian wives' tales.
No. Just go images.
I'm looking. Moose. I'm not seeing anything like that. I'm seeing hunting photos with moose trophies, and I'm seeing.
Okay.
I
already have a whole
moose plowing Ontario. I believe you.
Moose used for plowing. Moose used for plowing. Images.
Okay.
And they pulled sleighs and stuff.
That would be pretty sweet. That would be cool, right? Okay, here we go. All right.
Just the black and white ones.
Well, they had some more recent ones too, like this one.
Yeah, I know that. Yes. Yeah, this guy's
harness.
Using them for logging.
That makes sense. Oh, there you go.
But there's some old ones. There you go.
Pulling a carriage. That's crazy. Yeah. Can you imagine seeing that? That's wild.
Yeah.
Back when people weren't afraid of things. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, when you need a beast of burden, anything will do.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
On a chariot race. That's like a racetrack. That's a racing chariot right there.
Yeah, and they would be so fast. They're so long-legged.
Yeah. Oh man, I bet that was a wild ride.
Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of trivia for you.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
There's one down.
I did not know that they were that tame. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Bring it back. You can do it. Which one? This one?
Yeah, there you go. The whole family.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's just a young calf.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. So I was going to tell my moose story.
Oh, okay.
Oh, do you have more?
No.
You were about to say and. So
no.
I was just going to say I was out hiking one day and it was in the mountains where close to my hometown, and it was raining that day, and so we were down on this creek and we were fishing, and then like I was with my friend and his family was kind of making camp, and so we decided to we were tired of being rained on, so we thought, oh, let's just go back to camp and maybe we can warm up by the fire. It was getting chilly, and so we started heading up this pretty steep hill, and it kind of like crested, and the forest was right there, and right when it crested, I was like 40 feet, maybe 50 feet from a cow and two calves. And the calves were just standing there, and the cow had been eating, and she lifted up her head and looked right at me, just eyes to eyes, and I was like, oh no. And so my friend was just like, we both just froze, and he was like, walk straight backwards. So we just walked straight backwards, and she watched us the whole time. We walked straight backwards really slow and just back down the hill where she couldn't see us anymore. And then, and that was the trail back to our camp. She was on it. And so we walked backwards, and then we just took a big circle around her, and then went back up to the camp. But yeah, that was terrifying. I mean, it was just like you're staring death at in the face right there.
Yeah.
Because a cow moose is, I mean, they're huge. You know, they're like 7 feet at the shoulder. And, you know, and then if you're threatening in any way,
and their legs are like
it's
feet
game
long.
over. Yeah. I mean, she's 3 steps away from killing you right there. Right. And, you know, she drops her head and that's it. You're done. Mm-hmm. So thank God we're still here.
Well, you did the right thing.
Stare down a moose.
I mean, the one thing with animals is animals don't really enjoy conflict because there's always the chance that they'll die, right? It's too risky. It's risky.
It's too risky. Yes.
And so conflict is only engaged in if it's absolutely necessary. So it's usually territorial or protective, you know, in a pinch.
Yeah.
But like I've got roosters, for example, and my roosters will scrap it out. They'll establish their pecking order, literally, and then they won't ever go near each other again.
Yeah.
Like they, you know, people use them for fighting and the one will kill the other.
Yeah.
But that's just because these roosters they can't escape.
Right.
So what I'm saying is most animals will escape.
Yes.
That's how they surrender. They escape.
Right. Yeah.
And they're not scared. They're just surrendering because the bigger one wins. The stronger one wins. Right.
Right.
And things don't want to die because these are the propagators of, you know, life. Right. So.
Right. Correct.
So yeah,
they don't have egos to protect. They're not like
surrender to an animal, they will totally understand that. That is a language that they know.
Yeah.
And then there's no more threat. So that's a good thing to keep in mind.
You know, a related story. One time we went out to film. There's wild horse herds out in the desert west of Salt Lake City. And we went out there to film one of the herds. And there was there was a park ranger who his job is to just study the movements of the horses. He just goes out there and watches them all day, every day. And when we were getting ready to get out of the truck to film, he said, okay, this isn't going to make sense, but you need to walk straight toward the horses. And he said, when the lead mare, she'll take a few steps and then she'll keep watching you. And if you keep walking, they're gone. So when she takes a few steps, that's where you film. That's when you stop and that's where you get your shot.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get greedy. But he said, but what was interesting to me, because he said, if you start like trying to go around, like if you start walking in a circle, he said, that's predator behavior. That's stalking behavior. That's what the coyotes do. So he said, you can't be a predator. He said, if you walk right at them, they're going to watch you and be like, what? They won't know what you are. They're just going to be reading your movement, but they'll be confused. They'll just be like, they don't, because no animals in nature do that. But I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And he was right. The mare, they were all eating. And then the mare, she heard us. And because we were downwind of them, the wind was right in our face. It was perfect.
Yeah.
But she heard us finally. She looked up, and then she just watched us for a while, and then she turned and she was looking at the herd, and then she like ran forward a few steps, and then we plunked down the camera and shot her. And they stayed there for a couple more minutes, and they're just, and then all the other horses kind of like slowly stop eating, and they're looking around and looking for the threat.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other interesting thing that he mentioned was, I'm sorry if I'm yelling, I've got my air conditioner on behind me.
Okay, you're not yelling.
But the other thing that was interesting is you said, the lead mare decides when the herd leaves and decides where they're going.
Yeah.
And she'll just take off, and then the rest of the herd will follow her. And he said, but then the dominant stud horse is in the back, and he's the one who's like keeping everyone moving and keeping them like together.
And his main job is not like the lead mare is it's a matriarchal society. Horses.
Yes, that's what he was saying, right?
And the stallion's main job is to keep other stallions away.
Yes,
that's it.
Yeah.
And breed. Yeah. He breeds.
Right.
He breeds,
and he said he kind of keeps them. He's the back.
Well, there was
the caboose.
When I was in well, that's because he doesn't want anyone sneaking up from behind.
Right.
But when I was in Telegraph Creek, there was what we call a proud cut gelding. So a proud cut gelding is when he still has testosterone because they didn't pull the testicles out properly. And so there's a little piece left, but he can't breed anything. So he's theoretically gelded, but he still thinks he's a stallion.
Yeah.
And acts like one. And
I know a lot of guys like that. Sorry, go ahead.
And I had 4 mares and 2 young colts. And he came, so he was a Morgan Arab cross, which he looked like a fat old man with skinny legs. Because a Morgan is like a draft.
Yeah, right? Right. Morgan horse is a big horse, and Arabic horse the Arabians are small.
It's a pretty stout little animal, and they're short. Yeah. So he was short, but then he had these beautiful Arab legs, which made him look like, some rotund old guy with skinny legs.
Yeah.
But that horse could roll underneath my rail fences.
Oh, wow.
So he'd come up our driveway because we didn't have gates and we had the horses corralled. And I came out in the morning one day and all my horses were gone. Oh. And he took them. Okay.
Wow.
He just herded them up and off they went.
Yeah.
So I had to go down the road and find my horses. Luckily, there were cattle guards on either end. So I knew that they couldn't get too far. But anyway, yeah. Lots of horse stories too, but I won't bore you with them.
I understand. No. Yeah.
Yeah, too many. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, animals are interesting. And it's interesting that St. Kevin had a heart for them. One of the things I wanted to mention about that story that I found that I also find interesting, and you see it quite often in the stories of these hermit monks, is their refusal to take on ecclesial authority.
Yes. Right.
And they may be forced, because they don't want to outrightly disobey their spiritual father or whatever. They may be forced to take the mantle, but then they always end up going back.
Right.
They always end up going back to the woods.
Yeah. If they can. Yeah, for sure.
If they can.
Yeah. Yeah. They actually tricked St. John Chrysostom and like pretended like somebody was sick and asked for his blessing. And he went there and
well, see, this is just another fascinating
bishop was there, trapped him.
Yeah, it's just another fascinating aspect of early Christianity for me because, at least I was raised in a denomination that if you balked at authority, then you were excommunicated.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. Like,
right.
I don't know what it's like in Mormonism, but I can imagine it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, well, yes, they do have it. It's called have you ever heard the phrase distance to authority? So like there's some cultures that have a high distance to authority and then some cultures have a low distance to authority. So the high distance is like, you don't question, you like whatever they say goes, but the result is you end up with like passive aggressive.
Well, I think
behavior. That's how Mormonism is.
Yeah. And I actually think it's the closer, what did you call that?
The distance to authority.
The closer that distance to authority is, the more cultish the group.
No, it's higher. The higher the distance authority. It's the
What do you mean?
higher is like when the leader speaks, no questioning. You just do it,
Okay.
but you're
Okay.
pissed off about it and you backbite about it and you like slow roll it. So like it's like in Utah, if the manager of a company makes a policy that the people don't like, they won't say anything, or maybe there's one renegade who will say something, but then everybody will start being late and everyone will start taking sick days.
Oh.
That's like high distance to authority, right? It's like you're not allowed to question, but
okay. So, but that's cultish.
oh yeah, exactly. Yes, right. I was just clarifying which is which. I was clarifying which was which. But yeah, correct.
I got it backwards in my head, which is not unusual for me because I just.
That's fine.
But my point being that in these lives of the saints, you don't have that kind of behavior.
Right.
There's this personal freedom that seems to, let me say, trump. Can I say that word?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It trumps even ecclesial authority in the end, oftentimes. And I find that really, really interesting because, there's this struggle in modernity with this whole idea of individualism. No man is an island, all that kind of thing, personalism that's taken to its extreme in some cases, where it's no longer personalism for me, it's communism. Okay.
Right.
but there's this how do I want to put this? Let me think of the word. In order to understand holiness, you have to leave room for the person, like the saints. Let's keep it with the saints, okay?
Yeah.
Because they can do this. And it's tied to sainthood. It's tied to monasticism because, like Florensky and Popovich say, asceticism is actually freedom.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So think about it in those terms, where the ascetic has total freedom. And he can either go into the church and become the bishop or the abbot or whatever it is they ask him to do, which is, let me just say this, it's not always the best choice, let's say.
That's why many of them run from it. So St. John Chrysostom he was really afraid of, well, one, he didn't feel worthy of the priesthood. That's a big part of it. And then two, he just saw the spiritual danger, right? The pride that can come in.
There's that, but then there's
like also, that subtle pride.
I'm thinking, what I'm thinking about? When I joined the Spinners and Weavers Guild, the first thing, I went for my second meeting. Okay, I joined, and then the next week I went. So it was my first meeting as a member. They asked me to be the president. And you might think, luckily I wasn't young, I was older and I was more experienced, and I was like, none of them want to be president. That's why they're asking me.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So they look for a scapegoat.
Right. That's another part of it too.
And that's another part of it, Anyway.
That's where, like, St. John Chrysostom ended up the Patriarch of Constantinople, and his predecessor was very much like enjoyed living the life around the royalty, through a lot of big parties, etc. And so then when St. John Chrysostom showed up, he wasn't doing that anymore. And like, then the royalty started getting upset, because he lived very simply and didn't throw these lavish parties. And everything.
Right.
He still lived like a monk. And that was part of the...
Yeah, he was serious...
That's what led him to being exiled.
He was a serious... Yeah, that's why... He's not the guy they actually thought he was.
Right. Yeah, he was exiled twice.
Well, yeah. And many were, right? So this is my whole point. There's a pattern there. And for me, it's personal. So,
Yeah.
because we have communion with the saints, right? As Christians.
Yeah.
And we live sacramental lives. And these men that lived on their own in a tree hollow, in a cave, standing in the ocean, praying, whatever it was that they were up to, they were in that very deep spiritual communion with creation. And
Right.
and when they got called in, like even Saint Seraphim of Sarov was asked to come back. He didn't want to either. When they get called back into, the community, they don't want to.
Right.
And some of them don't. And so the question is, and this is why I like Lives of the Saints, because the church leaves the door open by including that in their stories. Okay. The church doesn't, it's almost as if the church says, even though it says both things. Okay. So don't get me wrong. They don't have the right. They don't have the authority, right? To make these people do these things, right?
Yeah, you can't be coerced, but then there's them. Yes, Saint John Chrysostom was coerced. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the rest of his story reveals that that coercion was actually not good. Right?
Or it was good. I mean, he is a saint. He is Saint John Chrysostom.
Yeah, but then he was exiled.
That's the other thing, right? Glory to God.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it wasn't good in God's ultimate plan. I'm saying it wasn't good on the part of the people who coerced him.
Although it led to him being Saint John Chrysostom. That's my point.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that's part of it.
His first impulse to he ended up in solitary confinement by being exiled. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of like Pavel Florensky, who wanted to become a monk and go to a certain monastery and spend the end of his life there. Well, he ended up there, but it was a gulag when he got there, and he was a prisoner. Okay. Let's not use the word fate, but there's something about that there. There's something in it, and there's something about the saint who knows it. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And I like the idea that the church critiques itself. Are you frozen? Is it my internet? Can anybody see me? What happened to my internet? He's frozen. Okay. Can you, well, let me just text him. What happened to Jeremy? Oh, okay. He's coming. You can see me? Did I make any sense what I was trying to explain to Jeremy? Did any of that, went over everybody's heads? Okay. Thanks, Zeke. That means a lot to me. I'm used to people going, not really. Not really, Sherry. I don't do well by myself. I need a conversation partner. So there's a link if anybody wants to jump in. I don't know what happened to Jeremy. Maybe he had a power outage. So you are decently fluent. That's kind of cool. Yeah, there's a link in there. Actually, I could go get my other. No, I'm not going to bother. Well, what shall I do? Oh, he's messaging. Oh. Okay, he's on his way. He lost power, but he's coming. So, what should I do here? Anybody got any requests? Oh my gosh. I'm not good with on the spot. Oh, there. Oh, Zeke. Yay.
I couldn't leave you hanging, Sherry. I felt bad.
Thank you. I'm just like I'm doing the scream. The scream emoji.
Like that one painting. I forget. I don't know what era that is from, but yeah.
That's Van Gogh.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah. How are you?
Pretty good. It's my birthday, so I'm just I figured I'd stop by for some Lives of the Saints for the birthday. So,
Happy birthday!
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Are you willing to share how old you are?
I'm 27. I'm very old.
Oh, you're just a young pup.
You know.
Just a young pup, Zeke. Oh, that's fantastic. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. You know, it's not too bad. Can't complain.
There you are.
Hello. I can't hear anything. Hold on.
He'll get it. Yeah. Well, you know, back to what I was talking about with Jeremy before everything fell apart. What do you have any thoughts on that, Zeke? Like, do you not find that fascinating?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We're back. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Forgive me.
No
I
worries.
tripped the breaker out here in my office.
Y'all good?
Yep. Everything's good. Okay.
Zeke
Sorry
joined me
about
because I was really struggling over here. I was just like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? I didn't know where you went. I didn't know how long, you know, like if it was going to be like that was it, power outage.
Yeah, no.
Then I'd have to do my cane and my tap shoes out.
Yeah. Well, one thing I was going to mention is that my priest actually he was talking about a video, or he did a video just today where he was talking about like, when should I speak up was the title of it, like defending the faith, so to speak, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, he also talked about like YouTube videos and stuff, and he said, for a long time I wanted to do YouTube videos, but I didn't. And as soon as I didn't want to anymore, my spiritual father told me to. So now I do them. And he said, so a good measure is you shouldn't speak about the faith. He's like, I don't think you should say much of anything for the first 5 years that you're Orthodox. And he said, after that, he said, you should only do it if you're called. So if someone else asks you, or someone else says, hey, you should do this, or would you like to do this with me? Mm-hmm. Obviously, he said, talk to your spiritual father. But he said, he's like, you shouldn't just say, I'm going to do it. Or I want to do this now, or seems like a good idea. I want to do a YouTube channel. He's like, it's really spiritually dangerous. You should only do it if somebody else asks you. Mm-hmm. Or with the blessing of your priest. Well, I mean, and with the blessing of your priest. So anyway, it goes along with what you were saying as far as like, these guys were asked to be bishops and they didn't want to, but it was like out of humility that they didn't want to. And then
Kevin ran away and almost died.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, come on. Like,
yeah. This
is like when in the denomination I grew up in, that would have been called rebelling. Okay?
Right.
That's what that's called. You know, oh, she's rebellious. But like, you're just kind of done at that point, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember my mother asked me, it was after I was married and I had 2 kids, went back to Ontario for a visit. And there was a couple in the church that my parents went to that I had come out of, that I was like done with at the time. And they had a rebellious daughter. And they asked me, because I was a rebellious daughter, right? I fell into the category.
Mhm.
And, you know, it was just, I probably still am to those people. Okay.
Right.
Like, they wouldn't even switch it to the rebellious grandmother, which is what I am now.
Yeah.
You know, I'd still be my parents' rebellious daughter, right, to these people. And they asked me if I would have a talk with her. And I said, no, I won't. And my mother's like, why not? I said, because you cannot legislate people's lives.
Right.
That's what I said. And actually, my mother, right at that point, dropped everything she was doing and put her arms around me and said, we've hurt you so badly. That's what she said to me.
Mm.
I wasn't asking for an apology. I was just saying what I believed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Aragorn. Is that a new movie?
No, Lord of the Rings.
No, it's movie. Aragorn is more of the liberal, I don't want authority. I don't know what movie.
As in
it-
like the
In Lord of the
portrayal of
Rings.
Aragorn in the movie.
Yeah. In the movie,
Oh.
in the Lord of the Rings, in the movie.
Yeah, he's the renegade. He's the hidden king, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But
And
I
in the
think
in the
he's-
movie, he implies that he's avoiding it, basically.
yeah,
But
yeah. So was David, King David. It's a similar archetype, right?
yes.
Yeah. Anyways, it's just an interesting thing. It preoccupies my mind because I had that label. I still have that label to some people in my life. And how do you come out from underneath of that? Like, how does Saint Kevin? The only way you can do that is not to be portrayed as the rebellious monk or the rebellious son or the rebellious daughter, right?
Right.
Because here's the thing, Jeremy. God is the judge,
Right.
not everybody else. Like, somehow
Yeah.
they need to hold their tongue. Like when I said you can't legislate people's lives, about talking to this girl, I think her period of teenager. She was a teenager. Okay, she's looking for who she is what she was doing, which you want your teenager to go through that. Okay,
Right.
I think they extended it by 10 or 15 years because of the idea that they could judge that and that they could call it evil and they could excommunicate her and they could, you know what I mean? Like, and then how do you come out? How did she have to come out from underneath of that? Well, wounded, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Not a good story. Not a good story. So, yeah. I like these things in the lives of the saints.
Yeah, it's similar to the Fools for Christ kind of idea.
Well, it's what I mean when I think about when I say that the lives of the saints, like all monastics, hold the ecclesia to account.
Right. Right. Yeah, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with this kind of tradition, but the monks on Mount Athos, like the different monasteries, if there's some bishop that's going awry, they'll not commemorate them in the Divine Liturgy. And that's kind of their vote of approval or disapproval. Like they'll withdraw their prayers for them during Divine Liturgy.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen often, but it does.
Well, that's
happen.
what I find so fascinating about Marcus Shira's dissertation and the economy of monasticism and what purpose it serves for larger societies. And, because it's this outside of neutral in a sense, but it's holy, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so it holds authority to account.
Right.
And it's visited not just by peasants and, people looking for healing and asking for prayers. It's also visited by kings for counsel and all kinds of things.
Right.
So it kind of fills that hierarchy in a sense. And I'm sure an emperor could order them all back. They wouldn't go.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So it's just an interesting thing to see this interplay with authority, with ecclesiality, with monasticism, and saints and the lives of the saints.
I like story that
came on that pattern.
Yeah. No. Some kind of not a counterpoint to your point, but an interesting separate example is Saint Daniel the Stylite. He was like the first Stylite, and when he was up there, the bishop heard about it, and he was like, "Oh, this is some prideful thing. Like, this is going to be a problem." And so he went to him and said, "I need you to come down." The bishop went to the saint he's living on a column, basically. He's living on a platform. And he went to him and said, "I need you to come down." And the saint immediately started climbing down the ladder. And the bishop was like, "Oh, he's not prideful. No, you can stay. Never mind, you can stay."
It's kind of like when
like a test.
What came to my mind when you said that? I was driving my son to the bus when he was in university in Vancouver, and I had to take him to the bus in the middle of the night. It was like 2:00 in the morning or something for the Greyhound. And I was coming home, and I drive the speed limit, and so I'm driving, and this cop pulls me over, and I was like, "What?" And I pull over, and he comes up to me and he goes, "No worries. You pulled over so nicely. I know you're not the person I'm looking for." And they were looking for a stolen vehicle. That was my truck description, right?
Mm.
But he just had to, because he pulled me over, he had to talk to me.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of similar to that, right? Like,
yeah,
my behavior gave him the indicator that, oh, that's not her.
All right.
Same with the Stylite, Daniel the Stylite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, Zeke?
Of course.
Is Zeke's birthday today?
Many years.
Thank you.
He's a ripe 27.
Very
Oh,
old.
man. I remember those days.
Well, you made it past the hump. Apparently, young men up to the age of 27 are more at risk for incarceration. After that, it goes down.
Interesting. I can't imagine me ever getting incarcerated.
I can't either. I can't. But that's when the most risk behavior happens from, preteen to the age of 27, and then it radically drops after that.
That's good.
Your risk assessment centers are the last area to develop your brain. Mine didn't catch on until I was about 40. I was a slow learner. I was risk oriented much more when I was younger.
I didn't have much of a threshold for that either. I remember as a little kid one time, my parents boarded some horses. We lived on a rural property. They didn't own them, but they belonged to other people, and they would board them there. And one of them was my uncle's horse. And I went in with him one morning, I was always up before the sun, before everybody else. I was just a weird kid. Anyway, my parents woke up and I was being trampled in the pasture by this horse. And I can remember seeing the feet coming at me, and I was laying on my back. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't have, one time with one of my horses, I had her tied up and the rope slipped down the post and she got her leg caught in it and started, horses throw a panic right away, right? Like it's a wicked panic. And they pull back and they can really injure themselves when that happens. And anyway, I just dove literally because I was on a bit of a hill and she was down below, and I just flew, landed right at her feet, grabbed her legs and said, "Stop." And she did. She stopped immediately. And she was a young horse and I was breaking her at the time. So this was all like, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, don't ever do that again." It's just how I react to things.
Yeah.
Without any thought, right? All I could think of was this horse going to break her leg. She's going to, ruin her spine. She's going to do all. Yeah. But she listened. And then another time my daughter was riding her, and I think it was Snowflake's like first or second ride out. And my daughter was pretty good on horses, and she was on her, and we're going down the road, and all of a sudden my daughter's like, "Mom, something's wrong. This whole horse's body is vibrating." And I looked down and she had a wire wrapped around both of her back feet.
Oh.
And I don't know, she must have stepped into it on the road.
Yeah.
And I just said, "Don't move and everything's fine." So the thing is, you have to whistle so your body language doesn't change, right? You get off and I said, "Snowflake, I got you. Just stay still." And I took it off of her, threw it in the ditch, and off we went, And I don't, I always wondered if it was because I dove in that day and grabbed her feet and I saved her. So she has that trust like built in now,
Right.
But yeah, I can yell at her and say, "Stop!" and she'll just stop. Just really cool. Yes. All kinds of animal stories, Jeremy.
There's a lot to learn by watching the animals.
So much.
I'm going to open the door. I'll be right back.
Yeah, he's melting in there.
Yeah,
See,
it's hot. Yeah,
he's got 103 right now.
No, it's down to 80. The AC was working great, and then the power that it killed the power because this is an older trailer. So I got to open the door. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
You're good.
Brutal.
Not for me. Well, I enjoy a good sauna, but that's an intentional decision, different than baking in a house. So
while doing a podcast.
Yeah, while talking to Sherry about dying, almost getting trampled by horses. My parents were too old, so I have older. They're like living with grandparents, so everything is like kid gloves. Even if my parents didn't have like always the best risk assessment when they were young, right? So that also, I guess, doesn't help either. But it's never been like, "Oh, you can do whatever you want." It's always been, "Well, Zeke's going to die if he goes outside." So the older people get, the more afraid they become. Yeah.
Sort of. Hasn't happened to me yet.
You're one of one, so your mileage might vary.
No, I shouldn't say it. It's not. Well, I've gotten over fear. I've gotten over some fears. I used to be terrified of the dark for years.
Really?
Terrified. Yeah. Especially if I had to shut the light off when I left a room, like shut a light off and it's pitch. The feeling that something is behind me is so intense. I think every hair on my body is just like, sensing it. Yeah. Were you
I
afraid
was
of the dark, Jeremy?
I was afraid of the dark for a few years. When I, like goes around age 9, 10, until I was about 16 or 17, and then I kind of got over it. But like I got exposed. Like I was pretty sensitive kid, and I got exposed to like Dungeons and Dragons when I was like 9, and that scared the hell out of me. It really, like, just the pictures of the monsters and stuff was not good. Like I had nightmares. I had, like, one time I woke up, my parents were watching, I don't know, Christine, I think it was, like
Oh
the
God.
the Stephen King movie,
Yeah.
and it's terrible. It's like not even a good horror movie. And I woke up, and it was the part where he's like trapped in the car, and his ears start bleeding, because the stereo just gets louder and louder,
Right.
and his ears start. And I was like, that just like I can still remember it. I still remember that scene. I still remember that
The terrifying
time.
feeling.
Yeah, just like, and I woke up. I think I was like 6 or 7, and I woke up. I felt like I am a morning person, so I wake up at like 6. I would wake up at 6 in the morning, even when I was little. So I couldn't stay up at night. Like I didn't see midnight until I was like, I don't know, 12. I just couldn't stay up. I would fall asleep. So anyway, we were over at, my parents' friend's house, and they had rented Monty Python and the Holy Grail, right? And
I got it.
well, I had fallen asleep. I had never seen it, and I was just little. I was like 6 or 7, and I woke up during the scene when he meets the Black Knight, who's like, there's going to be the sword fight, and he cuts his arms off, right?
Yeah,
And then cuts his leg off.
Just a flesh wound.
And there's blood coming out, and oh my god, like that was
Okay, well,
terrifying
I'm
to
going to
me
tell you
when I
my
was little.
Monty Python Holy Grail story.
It scared me so bad. Like I was just like crying and like, please, we have to leave. And my parents were like, okay.
I was 14. I went upstairs to my room. My little brother was 4, my littlest brother, and he was on my parents' bed. They had a TV in their bedroom, and he was watching something. And I came out of my room, and I could hear, it's just a flesh wound, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I walked into that scene, okay, the Black Knight, and the guy cuts his arm off, and this little like straight shot of blood comes out of it.
Yeah, it's like this stream of blood comes out of his
out of a straw.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and my 4-year-old brother's sitting there watching it. And I thought, what are you watching? And I sat down beside him, and I was glued. I couldn't get away from it after that. I watched the rest of it.
Yeah.
I watched that. That was but it was the same scene, Jeremy.
It scared the hell out of me when I was little.
Well, you were 6 or 7. I was 14.
Yeah.
And it looked ridiculous to me. Like, I was like, what is this? This is stupid.
Yeah.
But
well, and I loved the movie when I was older. Like when I got in high school, we all like memorized the whole thing, we just make all the jokes. But like, when I was little, oh man, no, that was really scary for me. So I think that led to just, well, I was afraid of mirrors in the dark. Like I couldn't, like the bathroom, with the mirror, I had to turn the light on. And even then, like at night, I just didn't want to go in the bathroom at night.
Because of a mirror.
Because of a mirror,
yeah.
Because there were the stories of like you say the brr 7 times in the dark with a candle and the brr, and that just like totally, that like keyed me up because of, them seeing like what monsters actually look like in Dungeons and Dragons, the monster manual. No, I wasn't having it. No.
So you
monsters
were never
going to show up.
You were never a Dungeons and Dragons guy?
I was later when I was in high school.
Okay.
I played, but not when I was like, I just got exposed to it when I was young, and that was not the right time. I was
thoroughly satanic
sensitive.
in my world. Anyone who played Dungeons and Dragons was a spawn of Satan.
Well, it was definitely looked on with suspicion when I was young. Yes. When I was in high school, that didn't bother me as much. I wasn't as worried about it.
I never played any of those games. None. No video games. I've never played a video game in my life.
I have played many video games,
Oh, I
many
bet.
hours of my life.
Yeah. And it's not because I didn't ever had the opportunity. My son had, we started out with Nintendo,
Yeah.
Nintendo 64,
Yeah.
And Sony I think we ended at Sony PlayStation.
Mm.
And I bought one years later just because I wanted a Blu-ray player.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I have one downstairs. It's super old. And we've got the original Nintendo, with the Donkey Kong and the whole.
Right.
As my youngest daughter wanted, she collected that stuff. She liked it.
Yeah.
And they played Zelda, and then they got into the PlayStation games and stuff. And I would watch them.
Yeah.
I liked laying on the couch watching them play.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to play it.
Yeah. Well,
There's just something about. Well, I know myself well enough that if I did that, I would be addicted.
yeah. Well,
So I just didn't want to do. I didn't want to do that to myself. I didn't want to have to fight that battle. I had other things to worry about.
Right.
So I was like,
Yeah, it was definitely an unhealthy distraction for me for some of the key years of my daughter's childhood. I do have some big regret about that.
Well, I mean, it's also why I've never gambled. I've never been in a casino. We have a little. It's mostly a bingo hall, but they've got slots.
Yeah.
And one day I was getting work done on my car, and the guy said, "Can I take you anywhere?" I said, "Yeah, just take me to the casino." But I meant the restaurant because they have good food and it's cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he goes, "Oh, you're going to play the slots?" No, I said, no. I've never been in a casino, and I'll never go in a casino for the same reason.
Right.
You know how I found out?
Mm.
You know how I found out how addicted I was to these things? If you take me fishing, Jeremy, you'll never get me to stop fishing.
Right. Yeah.
I will fish until I drop dead because it's the thrill of catching something.
Right. Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens in a casino and in a video game.
Yeah. Yeah. I had the misfortune of winning the first time I ever gambled. When I won pretty big, and that was it took me several years to shake it after that.
Oh yeah.
But I met a guy who was very successful, very wealthy, who said that he had started like keeping a good log of his winnings and losings and realizing just how much money he was wasting. And I was like, well, he's way more successful than I am. What am I doing? And that, like, hearing him talk about it, that broke the spell.
Yeah, that's good. That's what you really need. The spell broken.
Yeah. Yeah. It really
power
is
of it over you.
You're enchanted. Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah. Yeah. I got dragged off the beach at a really nice river in Bella Coola so that I would stop fishing.
Yeah.
Two great big guys were like, "All right, that's enough, Sherry, come on." And then also now there's limits on everything. So,
right.
If you want to be a law-abiding and thoughtful, fisher person,
it can be expensive if you if you get greedy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just try to keep myself from those things because we are little monkeys,
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still fighting it.
We like that reward. It's a good feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Jeremy, would you like to quit early?
Sure. I could use an early night of sleep. That would be great.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zeke, thanks for hopping in and having our back when I was incapacitated by my dilapidated power.
Can't leave Sherry by herself, so I got you. Don't worry.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Zeke.
Yeah.
And did you get a good cake, Zeke?
No, I did not. I'm not Not a
kidding.
big birthday guy. I don't know. Dad's a big birthday guy. He feels bad because he's like, "Oh, Zeke, you don't care about your birthday." I'm like, "It's fine. You know, I can do. I'm a simple man. Give me a
Oh,
cigar and give me a beer, and I'm fine."
That's nice. I like that too.
Nothing wrong with that. That's a good way to celebrate a
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah. You might as well. You might as
Pretty
well
sweet.
do it that way. Otherwise, you get yourself all worked up for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Mhm.
All right.
yeah.
Well,
Been there,
I
done
won't. I won't be here next week. I can't remember why, but I have a thing next week.
that. Is it
can't remember what it
is
is.
it your parish council meeting?
I don't think so. It was something else. I just don't remember what it was. Forgive me.
That's okay.
I'm starting not to remember those kinds of things as well. But I have a calendar, so it's on the calendar,
You'll
but I
let me
just don't
know.
remember what it was.
You'll let me know.
So,
I mean,
but
you
yeah,
don't
I don't
tell
think I'll
me
be
where you're
available
going,
next
but
week. Right.
yeah. So next week,
But
next
yeah.
Tuesday, you'll
Yeah.
be busy.
I'll be out. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Black
Oops.
Keys concert. I'm going to the Black Keys.
Ooh, that's
So-
exciting.
Black
yeah, I'm excited
Keys.
about
Who's
that.
that?
The Black Keys. Look up the Black Keys. I like their older stuff. I liked them before they were cool.
I'll look it
But
up.
no, it's just two guys from Ohio. One guy plays guitar, the other guy plays the drums. They play like their older stuff was really bluesy. It was really great. It was really like raw. They recorded it like in the basement of their house. I think their second or third album, they recorded the whole thing in a day. So it's just like old school, kind of that, raw sound, and it sounded really great. I really liked their music a lot. So,
Yeah. So you're gonna hit the concert.
gonna go hit the concert next week. Yep.
Cool.
Anyway,
Awesome.
all right. Well, thanks all. God bless.
Have a good night.
Have a
Good
good night.
night, Zeke.
All right.
Good night, all.